Hello everybody and welcome to yet another edition of Hops at Home Virtual Happy Hour. I'm Phil Clark and I am the landlord of the Brit Yankee Pub Studios, where we usually record the Brit Yankee Craft Beer podcast, but now we've turned this into a video cast. And so, without further ado, I'd like to introduce my co-hosts for the evening, Mr. J Rosicky and Mr. Ken McMullen. Hello, guys. How are you? We'll ignore the other guy over there for just a second because he's our special guest. We'll come to him. I'm going to go to Ken first because I understand, Ken, you're not at your house and they may have to mute you because of landscape work. Is that right?
That is correct. It's my father-in-law's birthday, so we're up here in Grays Lake. And I'm sitting on his porch. We're socially distancing, sitting in the garage. So instead of going in the house, I'm sitting on the porch. You might actually hear thunder. There's a thunderstorm passing through, and it's raining like crazy. But
wow,
yeah, the landscape, that's not deterring this landscaping crew. So you may have to mute me while they mow and blow and whatever else they're doing out here.
Wow, mow and blow. Sounds like a haircut from heaven. Anyway, what are you drinking, bud?
I got a new Glarus Spotted Cow from my father-in-law.
A classic, absolute classic there, definitely. One final question. Who's your little buddy?
Oh, I'm sitting on his porch. So I set my phone down, and this is his little display. But you liked him. I like him. We're keeping him.
Yeah, he's good. He's part of the coronavirus thing. He says, who, right? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. J Rosicky, what are you drinking? And it looks like you're still down in lovely Florida.
I am. I'm drinking the Great Lakes Dortmunder Lager, which they won awards for.
It's a Dortmunder Lager, so good classic German. Oh, look at that. That looks good.
Freaking delicious.
All right. Just the thing for a hot day down there. Well, I think it's time for me to crack open mine. And in honor of our special guest, which I think I'll introduce right now, over there on my left is Mr. Mike Marr, sitting in his parking lot outside of the Buffalo Creek Brewing Company, where he is the brewmaster. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Phil. Hi, guys.
How the hell are you doing this? It's a nice day, but isn't it raining up there?
It is pouring cats and dogs right now.
You must be undercover.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I'm actually, as you'll see in a little while, I'm in my my man cave at home. And in addition to brewing beer, I've taken up the Amish woodworking skills of building this. Kind of see here, it's all the railings. I built that myself with I had help from another guy, but we did it all Amish style. No screws. Everything is, pegged together. Basically, we needed a way so that, customer, we were sitting out on the curbside doing all this curbside pickup. And I'm like, we need more curb appeal. And so we made this nice cedar post fence. And it holds people in. So when they had a few too many, they can actually navigate down the stairs and at least to the parking lot before they tip over.
So hopefully they don't get into their cars when they've had a few too many. I just wanted to say that, okay, so what I am drinking in your honor is my last can, and it looks like I might have to come up again, of 42K, which is your Belgian Ale. Can you tell us what the story is behind that while I pour it out?
The beer itself is something that I wanted to create. It's actually kind of like a spin-off of Delirium Tremens. It's got a nice head, like Delirium. Yeah, you got a nice head on yours as well. But it's a Belgian strong ale that I wanted to create years and years ago. And we actually opened up one from I think it was my second batch I'd ever made. And a buddy of mine had stored it for 15 years. We opened that thing up. It had a nice crust on one side of the bottle. The flavors were incredible. And we actually stacked it up with what I make, commercially today. Both of them came out fantastic. Although I will say after 15 years, it holds up very well and actually might taste a little better than what we make today.
It's quite high ABV, right?
Yeah, the initial version was about 12.3. the latest version, and we keep it down to 10.5, so that we can actually stay within the guidelines of that style of beer.
And I think it was last weekend, as we record this, you were going to be having the Long Grove Beer Festival, right?
We were supposed to have the Long Grove Beer Festival. It's one of those ones. It's always a challenging festival. The second year we did it last weekend of April. And the thing is, with Long Grove being a festival town, and we try not to have more than one festival per month. And so May is always Chocolate Fest, June is Strawberry Fest. Then we got Vintage Days, Irish Days, Apple Fest. So the only time we can really do this is either in July, which I really don't want to compete with everyone else, or the last weekend of April. And I think a couple of years ago, you came out for that one, the last weekend of April. Beautiful sunny day, probably 60 degrees. Everybody came out for that one. And then last year, you want to explain what happened, Phil?
Last year, it was a tad on the chilly side because it started off cold, but then was snowing like a blizzard.
Yeah, we ended up with about 6 inches of snow that day, and probably 200, 300 people came out for it. I just remember by the end of the day, everyone was making snow angels, having snowball fights.
I do remember that everybody ended up in your brewery anyway, so to get warm.
That's typically the case, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, you can see right now, hey, look, the lights are on.
Mike, when you guys first came into Buffalo Grove, how did that affect, or how did that change like the Buffalo Grove scene? Because I know it's a decent sized city down there or up there.
Well, the funny thing is we're a mile from Buffalo Grove. We're actually in Long Grove.
Oh.
And Long Grove is one of those towns. It's a unique town where it's 2-acre zoning, big, beautiful houses, horse farms. And the nice thing about Long Grove is it's kind of sitting right in the middle, surrounded by all this suburban sprawl. But it hasn't affected Long Grove because of the regulations that they've put in. But when we came into town, I will say that Long Grove was, on kind of like on dire straits, last rites. I was one of 2 businesses that came in the same year. There was also Jesse DeSoto next door. He's our local celebrity, Dancing with the Stars season 2. He put in it's now rated the number 1 dance studio in the country, or Fred Astaire dance studio. And between the 2 of us, we put a lot of money into town. We both sit on the board right now, and kind of really work to bring, finish off the town, bring new merchants in, and bring life to a town that was pretty much decimated during the recession.
Are you going to take some dance lessons from him at any point?
I would love to, but I had a little accident last year, and I spent probably about half the year last year in a wheelchair. I slipped on the ice and ripped the patella tendon off both kneecaps.
Oh,
being a brewer, it was a brutal year, and I thought last year was going to be the worst year we'd ever have, and then lo and behold, here comes COVID-19.
Ken here from Alpine. I've got a brewery that's clad in copper, and Phil tells me you have some copper in your place, and wondered, maybe where you got it, and also how are you keeping it shiny?
Well, that's when we set up the brewery itself, we wanted to go, and we didn't want to be American. We wanted to stay very traditional to a German beer hall. And when you go into German beer halls, you don't see a lot of stainless steel. You see a lot of brass, you see a lot of copper, zinc, not all this modern stuff. And so when we went in there, I told our construction crew and the architects, I don't want to see any stainless steel. And I almost won the battle. Other than the ductwork, there's no stainless steel in there. But we did have a copper bar put in. The copper bar itself is something that we actually spent 150 hours with little ball peen hammers. And so we actually distressed it, indented, made it hand hammered to put all the little dimples in there. 3 people, each of them spent 50 hours on it. The hammering was just mind-numbing for after a week.
But by the time you finished, it wasn't the bar top that was distressed; it was you.
I think everyone was distressed at that point. But the copper itself, we don't try to keep it shiny. It's one of those things that we like the natural look to kind of show through.
Well, how are you doing in these days of the virus? You're doing curbside? I know you said that, but I mean, are you brewing?
So we use Omega Yeast as our yeast manufacturer.
Ah,
and, yeah, they were shut down for a while. I did put my order in earlier this week, and I'm actually going down to Omega, and I told Lance that I would be donning my my curb appeal mask here.
oh, it's a red one.
Oh yeah, well, Buffalo Creek, everything's red. So I told him I'd be wearing my mask coming down and picking up all the yeast. So we're actually brewing 4 days next week. We're going to start with a double batch of 360 pills. That seems to be the first thing that we ran out of. After that, we'll be doing a batch of Marvelous because that's the next thing we're running out of. And then Mammoth because we're almost out of that as well. We're looking forward to bringing the staff back in because we've gone from being a brewery that is, taproom hours are somewhere between 55 to 65 hours a week. And we're down to 13 hours a week right now with the curbside. So Wednesday through Friday, 2 to 5, and Saturday, 12 to 4. But we have invented the Long Grove Survival Kit, which is helping us get some sales. It's helping us, also give away to some of the merchants that can't be open because they're not considered, essential businesses. So we're able to take product from them, assemble these kits, and actually sell them curbside on Saturdays. So we put the ad out there usually on for what's going to be in the kit each week. So we change it up between what merchants and what products that they sell. So every week it's a little different. We want to have some variety. And then we've also made it so that people can actually buy survival kits as a sponsorship to the Long Grove Fire Department.
That's awesome. I did notice a couple weeks ago some other breweries doing like the kits. I think the first one I saw was maybe Skeleton Key. I don't know for sure that they're the first, but that's the first one I noticed. And then I saw a bunch of other breweries doing it. And I'm like, every one that I see online, I'm like, man, I want that. Man, I want that. You can't obviously buy all of them, but I think the kit is a cool way to go, not only because it helps your brewery, but it helps another business alongside with you.
Absolutely. And like you said, the ones that can't be open, this allows them to at least be able to sell something during this time.
Yeah.
And
It's also unique. I mean, this is the only time you're going to get these kits. I doubt breweries are going to keep packing kits together after we are able to open back up and really start cranking again.
yeah, I've had to explain to people that this, we're in the business of selling beer, not gift baskets. And
Right.
gift baskets right now are kind of a way of us to enable us to be able to sell beer. I've also had to explain that, because I'm also the vice president right now of the Historic Downtown Long Grove Business Association, that this is not part of them. This is a Buffalo Creek Brewing initiative. We've partnered with Smoking Teas. They supply the food every week. And then we bring in 3 or 4 other vendors. So like this week, we got Covered Bridge Creamery with 2 pints of ice cream. We got Signature Popcorn with 2 medium bags of popcorn. We've got the Country House with they got a kind of like a puzzle kit. And then Ma and Pa's Candy. They're a kind of a retro candy company that sells stuff from, decades, years ago. But they're putting together a chocolate premium kit for us that's going to go into this.
That's really cool.
All of that sounds absolutely wonderful, and we'll put up at the end of this video exactly where to get all this information for people. But before we go, and we try to keep these videos fairly compact, because in today's world, everybody has a short attention span. Although now their attention span has widened considerably because they got all the time in the world. But I would like to ask you, Mr. Mike Marr of Buffalo Creek Brewing Company, show us your fridge, please.
Okay. So you guys are going to have to coach me on this. Okay. So here we go. So This when I bought the house, this fridge came with it, and it's kind of locked in there, so I can't really do a lot with it. So obviously we got some Buffalo Creek down at the bottom. You might remember this one here.
Well, look at that,
Oh,
Ken. It's wicked.
Yeah.
Hey,
That change.
love it.
Let's see what else we got. Three Floyd's oil of gladness. The obligatory Bourbon County. And if you kind of see over on the side there, there's a couple cases.
Yeah. Is that cases of your beer?
No, that's cases of my beer. But over here on the side, there's some cases of Bourbon County.
Oh, back down
Holy
there.
crap, Mike.
Wow.
Okay, I do have a drinking problem.
Yeah.
You'll see that there's a lot of Dark Lord in here. And here's one. Here's one from Finch's Beer Company. And I have no idea what it is.
Neither do they, so we're okay.
Okay. That's probably true. Let's see. And Ken, I believe you were drinking something from this place.
Oh yeah. Is that,
So
what do you got there?
we got some Spotted Cow, Two
That's
Women
what I
Lager, and Moon Man.
I love Spotted Cow, man.
Little bells going on here. Some hop slam.
Hop slam, yeah, there we go. All right. Well, wait.
And I know we got to go quick here, so here's the Himbera Hollows.
Oh, nice. All right.
Okay,
That change.
Okay. Well,
we're in.
and your Deathly Hallows is one of the beers that everybody should not miss. It has a lot of wonderful variants that you've done with it, and each one is pretty damn good.
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, the right now we have because we only have so many taps. Right now, the only one that's on is the Himbera. The original, that one was kicked at the beginning of January, and we released that. I think it was the second week in November. So that one didn't last long. And then we still have the El Hollows, which is the Mexican chocolate version.
Ah, well, Mike Marr from Buffalo Creek Brewing Company, thank you very much for spending some time with us. I know when I pinged you about this, you said, I have nothing but time. And I think that's the rest of us. So we'll end this edition with a cheers from the 42K.
Cheers from Great Lakes Dortmunder Lager in Florida.
Cheers from New Glarus Spotted Cow.
And I've got 42K as well.
All together, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.